So have you guys been looking for a new build to run that isn't the Strikers, isn't Hunter's Fury, Hotshot, or one of the more known builds in the Division 2? Well, this build might be the one for you. I made a build like this back in Season 2 when we had totally different modifiers, and with this season, this build performs just as good. As you guys seen, we were hitting close to 1.5, 1.7, even all the way up to 2.3 million damage, as you guys are going to see in just a second. And rifles last season were the go-to. A lot of people enjoyed running rifle builds, especially with the big change that they did with rifles shooting automatically. No longer do you have to tap down the trigger. You just hold down the triggers and your rifles will shoot automatically. Well, most of them. Not every single rifle does this, but the weapon I'm using right now, the Urban MDR, does. The ACR does too. So there are a few of the rifles that do it, and well, that's where this style of build will shine, because it's almost if you had a slower firing assault rifle, right? But when you could put out these types of numbers, 1.5, 1.7, even 2 million, and if you see how fast we're shooting this weapon, especially with the modifiers, and that's why I say modifiers have really changed the way we should be building in the Division 2, because modifiers are changing the game for us. We're able to create a lot of different builds that we typically wouldn't be able to use previously, and now there are more builds, more viable than ever in the Division 2, and this season is one of those seasons that shows it again. Rifles still have a place in this season, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you guys have been looking for something a little bit different, well, this 100% will be that build for you. This is probably one of my builds that I enjoy putting on when I'm just bored of running Striker, the meta. So if you've been looking for a different play style and been looking for something that can still put out an insane amount of damage, you guys came to the right place, because this is that build for you. We'll have a full build breakdown for you guys in just a second. Let's finish this control point so that way you guys can see us clear pretty fast. As you guys seen, it took us less than almost 2 minutes to finish this control point, which is pretty standard for a really good build, right? And we are pushing through it. We just have this boss right here, which we are just going to shred through. Look at that, 2.3 million damage. Insane amount of damage. But let's get into the build, because I know you guys are ready for that. So for our weapon, we are running the Urban MDR. This is probably one of my favorite weapons to use. The handling is pretty solid, and if you put the right attachments on this, it shoots like a laser beam. Now, on this weapon, you can see we have 333,000 total damage. Remember, we do have 5 reds and 1 blue on this build, 380 RPM and 46 in the magazine. Now, we do have 20% expertise, so that's giving us additional 20% weapon damage on this weapon. We have rifle damage, critical damage, and 10% damage to targets out of cover. Now, we do have Boomerang on this one, and I believe Boomerang is probably one of the better talents to run on most of your rifles, because Boomerang critical hits have 50% chance to return a bullet to the magazine. If the bullet is returned to the magazine, the next shot has 40% increased damage. That means that if you get a critical hit, you have 50% chance to get that magazine back. That means you get more rounds in the magazine, and obviously that extra 40% increased damage for the next shot is insane. And for our attachments, we have the red dot sight with 30% stability, the magazine 20 rounds, the underbarrel we're gonna have 30% stability, and then for the suppressor 30% accuracy. This is going to help you be able to control this and shoot this like a laser beam. For your secondary, you guys can literally run whatever you want. My recommendation is if you guys have the Scorpio, that would be a great secondary to run, but again, that is up to you. So we are running the Palisade Steelworks mask, and this is going to give us 10% armor on kill. Along with our gunner class, that's 20% armor on kill we get on the build, so it allows us to have to use less armor kits and then also be able to survive a little bit more. We have armor rolled on here. This is our 1 blue roll. We have crit damage, crit chance, and then we have a critical hit damage mod on there, but ideally this is exactly the rolls you want. For the chest piece, we're running a Cheska chest piece is going to give us 8% critical chance. We have weapon damage, critical chance, and critical hit chance mod. We have obliterate, critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. That could be a total of 20% weapon damage. So for our holster, we are going to be running the Zoo brand set, and we actually have 2 pieces of Zoo for the 15% magazine and the 20% rifle damage. Now we have weapon damage on here, critical damage, and critical hit chance. The Zoo set is probably one of the better sets because it's the one set that does give you rifle damage, and that's why I really like that. It gives you 20% rifle damage. For our knee pads, we're running the Fox Parry knee pads, probably your meta piece for rifles for the 10% rifle damage, but it also gives you 8% damage to targets out of cover multiplicative. We have critical damage here and weapon damage. So again, this is going to be the one piece you probably run on every rifle build because of the 10% rifle damage and the 8% damage targets out of cover. Now you pair this up with that Zoo, that's 30% rifle damage we're getting from the brand sets on the build. For our second piece of Zoo, we have the gloves. We have weapon damage, critical chance. Some people like the name brand set, which you guys can use too if you guys have that one. I don't have it on me right now, but it's also going to give you some weapon handling. But again, I prefer this just for the extra crit damage, crit chance, and the weapon handling I'm perfectly fine with on this build. And then for the backpack, we are running the Grupo Sombra backpack for the 13% critical damage. We have weapon damage, critical chance, critical damage, and a critical hit damage mod. And for the talent, we are running Unstoppable Force. For killing an enemy, increases total weapon damage by 5% for 15 seconds. Now, this does stack up to 5 times. That's 25% extra weapon damage. And every time you get a kill, it will reset that 15-second timer. So keeping 25% is pretty easy to do, especially if you're in a control point, a mission. Super easy to keep up. Unstoppable Force is pretty good. If you don't want to run Unstoppable Force, you can run Vigilance there. We are running the Pulse, and then we are going to be running the Striker Drone. For our modifiers, I am running the active modifier, Overdrive. I love this one, especially when you get this procced. It will keep you up there, getting that extra damage. Remember, 30% weapon damage for 10 seconds, 30% skill damage, 30% rate of fire, and unlimited ammo supply. Not only that, it's going to keep us at the top tier of our global modifier. So even when that does go down, we'll still have 20% weapon damage, 20% skill damage, 20% movement speed, 20% reload speed, and 25% rate of fire. So again, we should be able to keep that unstoppable up there most of the time, if not at least savage. Now, for the modifiers, we do run microwave coils. I love this because it has a chance of burning enemies. We do run aggressive drone. This is going to give our striker drone damage it's going to increase it by 50%, but reduce duration by 40%. And then we have critical momentum. Critical hits have a 40% chance to grant 1% momentum, helping us keep our global modifier at max stack so that way we can get most damage. But yeah, this build right here is probably one of my favorite builds. I actually ran this in the last season and I had a ton of fun with it. And I decided to bring it back for this season to see if it would still work, because we know last season was really good for rifles. But this season, for running gun rifles like the Urban MDR, even if you want to run the ACR, this is going to work really, really well. And in this gameplay right here, one fun fact I'll tell you, this part right here, I didn't even have rifle damage selected in my specialization. So I was missing 15% weapon damage on my rifles for this one because I didn't have it even selected. And you guys can see we are still shredding through it. So again, the build works. I think you guys will have fun with it. If you guys have been looking for something a little bit different, something that puts out a lot of damage, that doesn't use strikers, hotshot, or even Hunter's Fury, well, this is going to be that build for you. I'm having tons of fun with this. I'm sure some of you guys might remember this build from last season, but again, I wanted to put it out and let you guys know this build is still working really, really good. So I'll see you guys in the next one, but until then, nothing but skills out. Take it easy, everybody.